The Midnight Ride of Paul Revere by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow.
Listen, my children, and you shall hear of the midnight ride of Paul Revere. On the 18th of April in 75, hardly a man is now alive.
He said to his friend, if the British march by land or sea from the town tonight, hang a lantern in the belfry arch of the North Church as the signal light.
Of the North Church tower is the signal light, one if by land, two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm.
Through every Middlesex village and farm, for the country folk to be up in arms. Then he said goodnight with a muffled roar, silently rowed the Charleston shore.
Just as the moon rose over the bay, where swinging white as the morning's day, the Somerset British man of war would eat a phantom ship with each mast and spur.
Across the moon like a prison bar, and a huge black hulk that was magnified by its own reflection in the tide. Meanwhile, his friends were Allium Street.
Wonders and watches with Yerkers, hears told in the sense around him. He hears the merciless man at the break of the black door, the sound of arms and tramp of feet.
And the measured tread of the grenadiers marching down to the boats on the shore, then climbed the tower of the old North Church by the wooden stairs with stealthy tread.
To be briefly chambered over the head and startled by the pilgrim, there their peach on their same drivers that rode him made message and mill shaped and selfish. By the trembling ladder steep and tall to the highest window in the wall, where he paused to listen and looked down a moment on the roofs of the town. In the moonlight falling over all beneath the church I laid it dead in their night encampment on the hill, wrapped in silence deep and still.
A moment only he feels the spell of the place and the hour, and the secret jetted off the lonely belfry and the dead, for suddenly all his thoughts are bent.
That he could here look a I don't know that big word.
That's okay. Which one are you?
This one.
Sentinels.
Sentinels could
Tread.
through the watch for
Night. Wind.
night
As it went.
as it were
Creeping along
creeping along
from tent to tent.
from tent to tent. It
And seeming
and seeming
to whisper.
to whisper it is
Is well.
is will.
Good job.
On a shadowy something far away, where the river widens to meet the bay, a line of black that bends and floats on the rising tide like a bridge of boats.
Meanwhile, impatient to mount and ride, booted and spurred with a heavy stride, on the opposite shore walked Paul Revere. Now he patted his horse's side. The belfry tower of the old North Church, as it rose above the graves on the hill, lonely, spectral, somber, and still, although as he looks on the belfry's height. He glimmers in a gleam of light. He springs to the saddle. The bridle he turns, but lingers and gazes till full on his sight. A second lamp in the belfry burns.
A hurry of hoofs in a village street, a shape in the moonlight, a bulk in the dark, and beneath from the pebbles in passing a spark, struck out by the steed flying fearless and fleet.
That was all, and yet through the gloom and light, the fate of a nation was riding that night, and the spark struck out by that steed in his flight kindled the land into flame with its heat.
He had left the village and mounted the steep, and beneath him, and tranquil and broad and deep, the mystic meeting, the ocean tides, and under the alders that skirt its edge.
Soft on the sand, now loud on the ledge, it's heard the tramp of a steed as he rides. It was 12 by the village clock when he crossed the bridge into Medford town. He heard the crowing of the cock and the barking of the farmer's dog. He felt the damp of the river frog that rises after the sun goes down. It was 1 by the village clock when he galloped into Lexington. He saw the glided weathercock swimming in the moonlight as he passed.
and the meeting house windows, Blank and Bear gazed at them with a spectral glare, as if they already looked and stood up against the blade, or if they would look upon.
It was 2 by the village clock. When he came to the bridge in the Cocker town, he heard the bleating of the flock and the twitter of the birds among the trees.
He felt the breath of the morning breeze blowing over the meadow brown, and one was safe and asleep in his bed, who at the bridge would be first to fall.
Well, that day would be laying there pissed by the bridge, Muscatine. You know the rest in the books. You have read how the British were to fire and fled.
How the farmers gave them ball for ball from behind its fence and farmyard wall, chasing their coats down the lanes and crossing the fields to emerge again.
Under the trees at the turn of the rope. Under the trees at the road, at the turn of the rope.
So through
the night, rope Paul Revere. So through the night went his cry of love.
Good.
To every Middlesex village and farm,
A cry.
cry of defense and not of fear, a voice in the darkness, a knock at the door,
And a word that echoes.
a word that echoes forevermore.
For born on the night wind of the past, in the hour of darkness and peril and need, the people will waken and listen to hear the hurrying hoofbeats of the steed and the midnight message of Paul Revere. The end.